Hey everyone! We had a relaxing and wonderful time last week exploring part of the Blue Ridge Parkway in Southern Virginia. We visited a couple of popular stops along the parkway, including the Blue Ridge Music Center, Mabry Mill, and various recreational areas and overlooks. It was a beautiful scenic road that we can't wait to explore more of in the future. For now, we are heading back to Tennessee, where we will be exploring Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Great Smoky Mountains National Park, established in 1934, straddles the border of Tennessee and North Carolina and encompasses more than 800 square miles of natural beauty. At 200 to 300 million years old, the Smoky Mountains are one of the oldest mountain ranges on Earth. A hazy blue-gray mist caused by moisture and gases from plants and trees gives the mountains a smoky appearance and their name. Great Smoky Mountains is the most visited national park in the country. There is no entry fee for visitors, although there is a $5 per day parking fee if you will be parking anywhere inside the park for more than 15 minutes. Parking passes can be purchased online or at several kiosks at various visitor centers throughout the park. There are 3 visitor centers that are open year-round, and the small visitor center at Kuwohi, formerly Klingman's Dome, is open seasonally. The park is home to an abundance of wildlife, including black bears and elk. There are approximately 1,500 bears that live inside the park. It is advised to stay 50 yards or 150 feet away from bears. There are 14 main areas inside Great Smoky Mountains National Park. We explored just a few of these areas during our time here. There's so much more to see, and we are excited to come back someday and explore some more. For now, we'll take you with us as we check out some of the more popular spots in this national park, including Cades Cove, Roaring Fork Motor Nature Trail, and the highest point inside the park. To get to the national park, we had to drive through the resort cities of Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, Tennessee. These cities are popular gateways to the park, with many tourists staying at resorts, hotels, and campgrounds here. Pigeon Forge is an interesting city to drive through, with its many tourist attractions on display along the main drag. These include Dolly Parton's Stampede, Dollywood, Wonderworks, the Titanic Museum, and various other museums, amusement parks, and other attractions. Gatlinburg is home to Ober Mountain, a popular ski resort, as well as the Gatlinburg Space Needle, plus a variety of restaurants, shops, and other tourist attractions. It's fun to drive through Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg just once, but all this traffic and endless attractions just isn't for us. But to get from our campground in nearby Sevierville to the national park, we must take this quirky drive. Sugarlands Visitor Center near Gatlinburg is a popular first stop for many visitors entering the park, making it a very busy place, and even with the large parking lot, it can be hard to find an open spot. Parking passes can be purchased at kiosks outside. Inside there is a gift shop and a small museum showcasing some of the wildlife that can be found inside the park. There are also a few trails outside, including the relatively easy trail to the nearby Cataract Falls. One of the most popular things to do inside Smoky Mountains National Park is the Cades Cove Loop. This 11-mile one-way road loops around a scenic and historic valley near Townsend, Tennessee. Visitors have a chance to see wildlife such as deer and bears, and visit historic cabins, churches, and cemeteries. Cades Cove has the widest variety of historical buildings than anywhere else in the park. The Cades Cove Loop Road is open daily, sunrise to sunset, and RVs, buses, and vehicles with trailers are not recommended on this narrow road. You can get a guidebook for $1.50 at the information booth at the entrance to the loop. Cades Cove is a super popular drive that many park visitors do. Traffic can pile up very quickly, especially when there is a bear sighting or other wildlife around. Because of these bear jams and the general slow pace of this road, it's best to allow at least 2 to 4 hours to drive around this 11-mile loop. We suggest bringing snacks and drinks since you may not be able to exit the cove for a few hours. The only restrooms once you've started on the loop are halfway through the route, at the Cable Mill Visitor Center. There are a couple of two-way roads that cut across the cove that you can take to cut your drive short. Vehicle-free days are each Wednesday from mid-June to late September, making this loop perfect for pedestrians and bicyclists. We enjoyed driving around Cades Cove, but we would definitely be interested in biking it on a vehicle-free day. Cades Cove was originally a Cherokee seasonal hunting ground, before eventually being settled by European Americans. The first cabin was built here in around 1821, and by 1850, more than 130 families lived here in the cove. As you drive around the Cades Cove Loop, there are several historic buildings you can stop at and admire. The John Oliver Place is one of the oldest structures in the national park, built in the early 1820s. There is a 0.3-mile paved trail or a 0.2-mile dirt trail from the parking lot to the cabin. The primitive Baptist church was first established in 1827 in a log building. This building replaced the old church in 1887. To get to this church, you must exit the loop and drive down a bumpy side road through the forest. There are two other churches, the Methodist Church and the Missionary Baptist Church, that are directly off the main loop road. Elijah Oliver, son of John Oliver, was born in the cove in 1824. He married and moved out of the cove before the Civil War. After the war, he bought this property and raised a family here. Here are several outbuildings, including a spring house to keep milk and butter cool, a smokehouse to preserve meat, a corn crib, a barn for horses and cows, and a shed for sleds and wagons. A more modern barn sits along the 1-mile round-trip hiking trail from the parking lot to the Elijah Oliver cabin. Dan Lawson built his house in 1856 on land he bought from his father-in-law, Peter Cable. Outbuildings here include a granary and a smokehouse. About halfway through the loop is the Cable Mill Historic Area and Visitor Center. Here there are restrooms and a small visitor center, as well as several historic buildings. The water-powered grist mill and sawmill was built by John Cable around 1870 and still stands on its original site. The Greg Cable House was built in 1879, and it is the first and only remaining all-frame house in the cove. The store was operated on the first floor. A cantilever barn is also on display here. We did this drive on a Tuesday morning and it was very busy. We were told at the visitor center that Tuesday is actually the busiest day in Cades Cove, and Saturdays were usually the quietest, as most people are enjoying the attractions in Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge on the weekends. It took us close to 4 hours to complete the Cades Cove Loop. We did stop and do some walking at a few of the historical buildings and the Cable Mill historical area. We only ran into one major traffic jam due to a black bear eating near the road.
We just saw a black bear right up here where all those lines of cars are.
Yep, right by the road too. It's just eating right by the road.
Yeah, maybe 50 feet.
I tried to get video, but it was through the trees, so it probably wasn't very good, but hey, we saw a bear.
Heck yes.
This was a relaxing drive through some absolutely gorgeous scenery, and we would 100% do this loop again if we are in the area. "30 minutes from Cades Cove down Laurel Creek Road is the Sinks, a rushing man-made waterfall. Before the national park was established, logging companies used to cut timber in the mountains. Before railroads were built here, the loggers would send timber down the river. In the 19th century, a giant log jam formed on the Little River. Loggers used dynamite to free the logs and ended up altering the river's course and blasting a deep hole here, forming the Sinks waterfall. Another popular auto tour route is the Roaring Fork Motor Nature Trail. Just outside of Gatlinburg, this is a 5.5-mile narrow, winding, one-way road through the lush Smoky Mountain forest, past streams and log cabins. RVs, buses, and vehicles with trailers are not allowed on this road. There are several hiking trails you can stop and stretch your legs on, including Rainbow Falls and the Trillium Gap Trail that leads to Grotto Falls. The Place of 1,000 Drips is a waterfall right next to the road near the end of the route. "150 years ago, some 24 families lived in the Roaring Fork community, including the Ogle family, whose farmstead can be found before the entrance to the Roaring Fork Nature Trail. The Alex Cole cabin was moved from the Sugarlands community to its current site on the Jim Bales farm. The Bales farm was torn down after the government took possession during the formation of the national park. Jim Bales owned the corn crib and barn here on the property. This was another peaceful and scenic drive with much less traffic than Cades Cove. We drove through here early on a Saturday morning And while the parking lots for Rainbow Falls and the Trillium Gap Trail were full, we did not encounter very many cars on the motor trail itself. This is a quick and easy drive from downtown Gatlinburg, and the scenic beauty is worth the drive down Roaring Fork Motor Nature Trail. Newfound Gap is more or less the center of the Great Smoky Mountains, and it offers some incredible views. At an elevation of 5,046 feet, Newfound Gap is the lowest drivable pass through the national park. It lies along Newfound Gap Road, which stretches for 33 miles from Gatlinburg to Cherokee, North Carolina. This is a very popular road with various scenic stops and pullouts. Newfound Gap is where Franklin D. Roosevelt dedicated the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and here you can stand in both Tennessee and North Carolina as it straddles the border. It was extremely busy here on a late Saturday morning and very difficult to get a parking spot, so we would suggest coming early morning or on a weekday. 7 miles away from Newfound Gap, down Kuwohi Road, is Kuwohi, formerly known as Clingman's Dome. The mountain was named Clingman's Dome in 1859 after Thomas Lanier Clingman, a lawyer and politician from North Carolina. In 2024, the name of this mountain was changed from Clingman's Dome to the original Cherokee word for this peak, Kuwohi, which translates to Mulberry Place. There is a 1-mile round-trip hiking trail from the parking lot to the Kuwohi Observation Tower. The trail is paved, but it is extremely steep, and the air up here is thin, so it is recommended to take a lot of breaks if needed. At the end of the trail is the 45-foot tall Kuwohi Observation Tower. At 6,643 feet, the top of this tower is the highest point in the park. There is a 375-foot long ramp that winds around to the top of the tower, giving hikers a gradual incline to the top. Once at the top, you get a 360-degree view of the surrounding mountains. Thankfully, we were here on a fairly clear day, so we had a great view. However, oftentimes clouds and haze can obscure the view up here. Taking in the view here at the top of the tower is definitely worth the hike up here, but you also get some incredible views just from the parking lot. Kuwohi Road is closed from December to April. Our home base this week was the Douglas Tailwater Campground in Kodak, Tennessee, just outside of Sevierville. This is a wonderful campground that sits along the tail end of the Douglas Dam, along the French Broad River. The Douglas Dam, built in 1943 and operated by the Tennessee Valley Authority, is 201 feet high and generates enough electricity to power over 100,000 homes. Here at the Douglas Tailwater Campground, there are 61 campsites, including 3 primitive sites and 58 with water and electric hookups. It cost us $282 for 7 nights at a non-waterfront site, but we still had a great view of the river. There is an overlook you can walk or drive to inside the park that has excellent views of the Douglas Dam, reservoir, and the Smoky Mountains in the distance. Fishing and birding are popular activities here along the river. We even saw a bald eagle dive down and pull a fish out of the water. The Douglas Headwater Campground on the other side of the dam sits along the reservoir shore and is another good choice for camping in this area. There are helicopter tours of the Smoky Mountains that take off nearby, and multiple times a day we could hear helicopters passing over. We very much enjoyed our stay at this campground, especially thanks to the views from both our campsite and the upper overlook. This was also a great home base for traveling to and from the national park. It was almost an hour drive to get inside the park, but we personally were happy to trade a shorter drive for peace and quiet away from the hustle and bustle of Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg. Seven Islands State Birding Park is 11 miles away from the campground and about 19 miles east of the city of Knoxville, Tennessee. This 416-acre park along the French Broad River was once a wildlife refuge popular for hiking and birding, and eventually became Tennessee's first state park designed specifically for birdwatching. Over 220 species of birds have been sighted here. The park offers over 9 miles of natural trails as well as an ADA accessible trail and pedestrian bridge over the river. The Bluebird Barn at the park entrance has information on many birds found here in the park. The ADA accessible bobwhite trail is named for the northern bobwhite, a bird that was once common in Tennessee, but whose population has declined by more than 85% since 1966 due to habitation loss. Seven Islands State Birding Park provides all the components of the bobwhite's habitat, allowing the bird to comfortably nest and raise its young here. This was a beautiful and quiet state park that is free to enter and is perfect for walking one of the trails and taking in views of the mountains and river. With cities like Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg nearby, offering anything and everything you could think of to eat, it can be hard to decide on where you want to go for dinner. We decided not to venture too far away from the campground and ended up eating at Holston's Kitchen in Sevierville. Here, Keisha ordered the Cajun chicken tortellini, which was pretty good, while I got the ribeye steak and washed it down with a seasonal caramel apple mule. This was a pretty good place to stop for dinner, with menu choices that could satisfy almost anyone. We had a terrific time exploring parts of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. We enjoyed doing the auto tours at both Cades Cove and Roaring Fork Motor Nature Trail, and getting out and admiring the historic buildings along the way. Newfound Gap and Kuwohi both provided amazing views as well. We can't wait to explore more of this popular and gorgeous national park in the future. We hope you enjoyed this video, and we hope you will join us next week as we explore Chattanooga, Tennessee, where we will visit the popular attractions of Ruby Falls and Rock City. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.